Hello and welcome back to Dungeon Mastering Video. I'm your host and resident nerd watcher, Nicholas D. Petrillo. Today we're going to be reviewing the Eberron Player's Guide. Just a little personal background on me. My Eberron knowledge prior to reading this book could entirely be summed up by, I know that's where Warforged came from. Fortunately, this book seems to be catered to folks like me. The first 2 pages explain the 10 most important facts you need to know about Eberron. So if you're a player in an Eberron game and you're not at all familiar with the world, those 2 pages are likely enough to get you by. If you're more curious, the book also explains Eberron's 5 nations, gives information about the dragon-marked houses, the other continents in the world, the gods of Eberron, and just a general history of the world of Eberron. However, the information is rather superficial. It's enough to get an open framework, but you would need to fill in the gaps yourself, either by making up your own content or reading the Eberron campaign guide or any of the Eberron fantasy novels. With that said, I find the book to be an excellent primer on Eberron. You learn the basics, and they included something very important. So many campaign books get bogged down in long timelines and important figures and just a lot of history, but they forget to tell you anything about the feel of the world. Fortunately, this book is not like that. They take care to let you know the vibe an Eberron game should have, and you know what your Eberron adventures are going to feel like. Perhaps the biggest endorsement I can give this book is I went into reading it disinterested in Eberron and completely ignorant about it, and as soon as I finished reading it, I started up my own Eberron campaign. If you're only interested in the crunch, however, there's still some stuff here for you. The Eberron Player's Guide has 3 races, although they're not really original. The Changeling race is an update of the doppelgangers from the Monster Manual. Their ability to change shape has been mechanically diminished somewhat, but they get a new boon in the form of a choice in their ability score modifiers. All changelings get a +2 to Charisma, but you get a choice to apply your other +2 to Dex or Intelligence. This, ironically, makes changelings very versatile. They could be the perfect rogue, bard, warlock, or sorcerer. They can fill a lot of roles, so you can have several different types of changelings. The second and most original race in the Eberron campaign guide is the Kalashtar. They are a race of wandering spirits who have fused with human monks to create a serene and wise humanoid species. However, they are suffering from incidents of madness due to the bizarre soul fusion. They are naturally telepathic and enable you to project your thoughts to other members of your group. Interestingly enough, they're not the ideal for a telepathic scion character. They get bonuses to Wisdom and Charisma, which gives you both secondary ability scores of a scion, but not the primary intelligence. It is possible that as more classes come out using the psionic power source, that Kalashstars will fit in one of those classes better. It just seems odd that a naturally psionic race would not be fitting for the scion. But they're rather interesting and original race. And of course, an Eberron book just wouldn't be Eberron without Warforged. Now, Warforged have already been well covered in the Monster Manual and in Dragon articles, and that's largely the form they appear in here. However, being upgraded to book form, they come with some new feats, new components, and racial paragon paths. There is one new base class in Eberron, the Artificer. Now, like the Bard, the Artificer is an arcane leader, but their method of accomplishing that task is rather different. Artificers tend to imbue objects with magical powers, and then they use these tools to buff and heal their allies. Artificers use what could be considered modern technology. They use alchemy and just good old-fashioned magic. One of the more unique functions of Artificers is they can summon up constructs to aid them in combat. Artificers have a very Eberron feel to them, but they can be ported to any other game. In addition to that one base class, there's a slew of Paragon paths. There's the usual you expect from a campaign setting book, Paragon paths for artificers, racial paths for the new races, and some divine paths for worshippers of Eberron gods. However, particularly, Eberron has a Paragon path for each different dragon mark in the world. For those unfamiliar with dragon marks, they are held by different dragon marked houses, where it's a hereditary mark that passes through the line, and each one has a special ability associated with it. For example, there are marks of making or marks of storm, and they imbue special powers to make the dragon marked house particularly good at one field. In addition, there are new character options in the forms of feats. Now, there's the standard racial feats, the channel divinity feats for the new god, and artificer feats. But again, the real standout here is the dragon marks. To get a dragon mark, you take an appropriate feat, and the dragon mark gives you a special power unique to the feat, and also enables you to cast rituals. The rituals are limited. It's not just a replacement for a ritual caster feat, but it gives you a few specific rituals related to your mark, and obviously opens up different Paragon paths to you. The book also has rituals, new alchemical concoctions, and a few magic items. Primarily, it has special unique Warforged components that only Warforged can use. There is a good amount of crunch there. Most of it you could just glean from the character builder if you're an insider subscriber, but if you think you might have any interest in Eberron, I heartily recommend you pick up this book. I didn't think I was going to be interested in Eberron until I read it, and it won me over. So I give it my full recommendation. And until next time, good luck and good rolling.